Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the 1948 Mercury pickup. If you're new here, I'm Zach, and welcome to Wilson Builds. It is freezing outside. We are literally in the middle of a rainstorm. I'm a little bit protected by this tree, but I want to get this truck inside today so we can start working on it again. It's been a few months since we've actually done anything to this truck, but we just ordered some sheet metal, some other little components and stuff like that. So for the rest of the winter, I want it in the garage, and now that the Roadster's at a point where it's almost done, we don't need that much space to finish it, so I'm gonna bring this guy inside. Yeah, I'm gonna make this intro really short because my hands are freezing, I'm soaking wet, and I just wanna get this done. So we'll see you guys inside. All right guys, so we got more rain gear on. Don't have waterproof pants unfortunately, but we keep hitting, well, here comes the wind. Hopefully the camera doesn't blow over. But we keep getting big dumps of rain and then it gets a little lighter. So we're at a kind of a lighter stage right now. Hopefully it lasts. But I just want to get the hose and spray off all the tree debris like I said. And sitting outside here for the last few months has gotten some gunk on it, some dirt from obviously on the pavement when it rains and splashes up. So spray that off, get it as good as we can. Pull it out front and then kind of get it back into the garage. And it's just me, so hopefully I can do that, and especially in gum boots. So the first thing I want to do is get all this tree stuff off, and then we'll work towards the back and get it ready to come inside. All right, now that everything's out of the way, we can try and attempt to get it forward. It does steer, so it should move. Okay, so I'm only slightly soaking wet, but to bring the Mercury in, we're gonna have to reorientate the Roadster. If you're new to this channel, this is my 1929 Ford Roadster. We've been doing tons of videos of it. So when you've done this video, go check out this car being built. Basically, well, I wouldn't say frame up because we started filming just shortly after that, but pretty close. Anyways, let's move this around. I'm gonna go wash my hands and take off this bulky coat so I'm not scratching or doing anything to this Roadster I don't want to do. So yeah, give me a second. All right guys, now that the Mercury is in the garage, we can chalk up a bit of a to-do list on what we want to tackle first. Initially, I wanted to get the motor, the transmission, all mounted and in the right place, because then we could work on the exhaust and the drive shaft, but I don't have a motor or a transmission at this moment in time. So we're gonna tackle some easier things like patching our little tiny bit of rust down here on the cab corner. And then we have to patch our front fenders as well. The lower front fender that attaches to our running board is very rotten, but we were able to get patch panels from Midwest Early Ford off eBay, and they will look pretty great. So all we have to do is kind of cut the lower section off, tack them into place, finish weld them, patina the front fenders like we did the rear fenders when we did them. If you haven't seen that video, it's, I don't know, a couple months back here on the YouTube. But yeah, let's get to the bodywork, and hopefully we'll get that all done by today. It's pretty cold out today, so we'll see how long I can last. I mean, It's the West Coast, so it's not actually that cold. But I feel like if you live on the West Coast, cold is just kind of cold. I know I shouldn't complain. I got friends in Alberta and it's minus 40. All right, so this is the first fender I want to tackle because it's actually off the vehicle. As you can see, there's some rust in here, but that's an easy fix. Just obviously cut a panel. This bottom piece is still pretty good, so we'll just weld it like that and kind of shape it the way it needs to be. But this guy has to come off, so I'm gonna cut it off, and we can assess a bit more of the damage. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts we're gonna have to cut. Not a big deal. And then we'll worry about, I mean, this you can buy new, so I'm not worried about this at all. It'll go straight to the garbage. And then we'll worry about the back piece here, how to cut it and put our new piece in. Okay, so pretty good. I mean, over here we're gonna have to patch all this from about there to about there, which is not a big deal at all. But the reason I'm going so far with this fender is because this is a Mercury specific fender, and the way you tell is it has the turning signal embossed in here, whereas the equivalent year of an F1 would have it built into the grille. So you can see someone's already patched this panel. You can see where all the brazing is, but it's been replaced. So we're gonna have to cut a little bit further up, kind of in this line, and replace it again. Okay, now that we have everything gapped up, we can start welding. So I like starting in the corners, moving in the middle, and then so corner, 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 middle, and then see where it goes. So let's get on it. right, so I'm gonna go cut the fender now to put our patch piece in, and I don't think you guys are too interested in watching me cut a line, so I'll be right back. All right, so besides putting the panel on, I just went with the grinder and kind of took down all the Bondo and old body filler and paint, primer, whatever was on here, to raw steel. Obviously we left the rustiness, and we'll just be spraying our solution on there, which is peroxide and vinegar and a little bit of salt, and that will rust that all up, similar to what we've done here on the hood. So it'll look somewhat like that, and you know, little pieces kind of in here as well. So I'm gonna start tacking this guy. I don't know if we're gonna get to grinding that today, but at least we'll get this welded on. All right, so we have before and after. Really happy how it turned out. We can grind down our welds now, and then we can install it on the truck. Okay, so everything's looking pretty good. Obviously, we're gonna have to do something about some of these grind marks and stuff like that, because those don't look too natural compared to some of these guys up in here. So we're gonna have to either Scotch-Brite that, or anyways, just work with it. But first things first, we gotta grind down these welds, and then we'll bring it back. We have to drill a couple holes for our running boards, and then put our filler piece in that little area down there. And then we can start doing our rust solution. So let's get this off, grinded, and then we'll come back in, put it back on, drill our holes, put these guys in, and start doing our rust solution and get these on permanently. All right, so we have this side ground down. We have this side ground down, and obviously they're not gonna be perfect because this is a very imperfect truck. So spots like this where we couldn't get the weld, or we weld a little too high and there's a little indent, I don't care. So we're gonna come over here and we're going to mix our rust solution. So that is 16 ounces hydrogen peroxide, 2 ounces white vinegar, and a half a tablespoon of salt. I think it has to be iodized too. I did a double dose of this, so we can go mix this now and spray it on our fenders. But we got it spraying, and you can see it's already starting to rust. It only takes, you know, a few minutes, but it's good to do more coats. All right, so this is our first coat on our other fender. As you can see, it's really rusting up really easily. I mean, we're gonna have to clean that up. That kind of sucks, but I'm just doing really light coats, making it kind of wet, spreading it around. So, might just wait another 10 minutes, do another coat, and then we'll come back tomorrow and see how it is, and then we'll do more coats tomorrow. All right, so we've applied a few coats now to both the fenders. Obviously, we're not gonna be clear coating anytime soon, so we can keep applying the rust potion. I guess we can call it the potion. The rust potion on the fenders while they're on the truck over the next couple weeks, and just see if it gets any darker, but it doesn't hurt it. So yeah, let's wait till tomorrow and see how they turn out. All right, so this is about, I don't know, 10 hours, 12 hours, a couple coats. It's very dusty right now, so we're going to have to wipe it and spray it to darken it up a little bit, but not a big deal. These lower sections need some work. We'll probably just grind a little bit more of whatever's on there that's preventing it to rust. But we're going to do that on the truck. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts to hold on that fender. It's going to be a bit of a pain doing it by myself, but we'll get it done. So yeah, let's start with this side, and we'll move on to the other side. We might have to move the truck around a little bit because it's pretty packed in here right now. Nice. Looks like a truck now. All right, so now we're gonna darken this up. So as you can see, when I spray and get it wet, it gets pretty dark. So that's good for when we clear coat it because it will automatically go a little darker. But I'm just gonna get all the dust off, and we might even expose some metal here, but we'll build it back up when we spray our solution on it again. It's already getting a lot darker just from rubbing off the kind of the, I don't know, the rust dust maybe. I don't know. It's like dusty like I showed you just a minute ago. But I'll bring you guys over here and you can look. Most of the orange is out because the dust is kind of wiped. But as you can see, there's also streak marks. We exposed a little bit of the metal, as you can see, but that's totally fine. What we can do now is wipe it a little bit more, get those streak marks out, spray it with our solution again, and then just keep repeating that process till we kind of get to the darkness we want. Obviously, this is going to be kind of matte, clear coated, so it's going to be a lot darker when the clear coat goes on, and it's going to make everything look sort of even. There won't be those big discrepancies kind of up in here. So repeat the process a few times, and we'll see how it turns out. So the old spray bottle wasn't really working, so we went to the trusty Windex bottle. Let's see, much better. Way more coverage. So I would call this the second Passover. Although we've done a few Passovers, this is kind of the second, I guess, official one because we wiped it and got it clean. So this should really darken up. And again, I got a late start today, so we're going to be coming back tomorrow because it is the evening, and see how it turns out. It's already getting dark, so that's good. I mean, we can even spray some up here on that rust that we exposed as well. Just darkening it up. So let's run over to the other side, do another coat, and then we'll see where we get to. All right, so it is now, I guess, the third cycle of us putting our rust solution on, or rust potion on. We have way more coverage today. As you can see, it's still very orange from the oxidization, but that will all go a little bit darker after time. That's just kind of a dust sitting on top of it. So again, we're gonna hit this with actually our cleaner first, wipe all the oxidization off, and then we'll spray our rust potion on again. And this should be enough this time, and then it'll just be time. Probably in about a week's time, it's gonna really darken. There's some other ways to do it as well, but I found this way the best way, just to let it sit, let some time pass. So there is some areas where it is much darker, and I bet if we wiped this dust off, we would see that. But for the sake of time, we're gonna start drilling the fenders to our running boards. But I'd like to get the running boards in a bit of paint. And the reason why is because they were painted in a primer before, so they're a little bit sun washed right now. So I like to paint them black, and then we're going to rub through a little bit of that black and make them look old still. So take advantage of some of the rust on there already, but kind of make our own discoloration and patina on those. And then there's going to be little bits of black splotches on this truck, on the grill, on the top piece that attaches the two fenders and bridges them. There's a little bit of black, and I'd like just to add a little bit of black here and there and just make it look like it was a black truck in its past life. So the nice thing about doing what we're doing is we don't have to do a thick coat of paint on here. And in fact, we don't even need to clean it that good, because if there's dirt underneath it, it will pop the paint and make it look sort of patinaed. Now there's other ways you can do it too. You can put acetone, you can just do some stuff to mess up the paint that makes it look old. But realistically, we're going to try and keep as much as the original patina as we can. So we'll be dodging some areas, but then we'll be sanding the areas away. I just don't like this primer color, so I want to change it a little bit darker. But if it comes through when we start sanding, that's totally fine as well. All right, so I just realized I didn't have my mic on. So you just saw me painting this. Why did we paint it? Because when the running board flows into the fender, it would look weird if it was painted up to a rusted fender. So we blended, kind of got creative with this paint, and then we'll distress this and make it look patinaed as well. So I think it'll look good. I mean, I added a little bit on the side here so it looks natural, but I mean, realistically, it's hard to fake patina. I mean, a lot of people do it, but sometimes it just looks terrible. So I didn't go too far with what we did here. Obviously, again, we're gonna sand this down to stress it, rust it more, and get creative with it. So once the running board is dry, we'll put it up to it and kind of eyeball what we need to distress and what we need to patina. All right, so I'm gonna start giving this a little bit of a sand. And the reason I'm doing that is just to break it up and not look like we just literally painted it. Hopefully make it look, you know, a little bit aged. And there's a couple ways to do this. I like doing it with my orbital here, just very, very, ever so slightly with a high grit sandpaper. So this is 400 and we're gonna be doing it wet, so it's probably about 800 realistically. So we're gonna get that going and see how it looks. All right, let's move to our running board now. I left obviously some areas a little bit more exposed and then did thicker coats in certain areas. So the reason I did that is because I wanted to take advantage of the natural patina that's sort of underneath this paint. So when I run my sander, it should expose it decent enough, and then we can, you know, run it along these beads and stuff like that to make it look like, you know, this step was being used to get stuff out of the bed, this was being used to hop into the cab, and so on and so forth. So we're just faking it, and you know what they say, fake it till you make it. So let's get sanding, I guess, and just see what happens. I mean, you can't go overly wrong with this. All right, so now we have to rust it a little bit. You can see the primer coming through, which I actually kind of like, but I want to leave as much black as I can to kind of, I don't know, like accent everything else we got going on. So pretty happy with this. Obviously, we'll spray some of our solution on and test the waters, but a little bit of body filler in there that we'll have to deal with, but that's not a big deal. So yeah, let's start spraying this. All right, guys, so we're able to cut out and replace all the really bad rot, and that is the last bit we had to worry about on this truck. Mind you, obviously, I fixed it in kind of a quick, I don't know, fast forward way. If it was more of a show truck, I probably would have taken a lot more time welding and grinding and stuff like that, but as this truck is a patina build, I'm not overly worried about dents, bruises, and you know, you can see some of the welds, but Are you really going to see it if I point it out and you're not looking for it? Probably not. But I'm super stoked how it turned out. I'm really stoked we were able to bring the Mercury back in the garage, and this is where it's going to stay until it's done. We still have a ton to do. I've just ordered brakes, or we already put the brakes in, but I've ordered a brake pedal and master cylinder for the firewall instead of underneath the frame. So it's going to have a booster. It's going to be just a way easier system. The bed is still off because when we get the motor in transit, I want to do the exhaust all in kind of one go. So that's going to stay off until that's done. But as soon as that's done, we'll put the box back on and it will really look like a finished truck. Other than that, we ordered our front fender connector pieces for the front. So once we put the motor and we put the grill in, and yeah, I mean, it's going to get done pretty quick now that this is all done. This was the big hiccup, was the body work and fixing all the rust. But anyways, guys, I'm going to conclude the video there. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you saw today, leave me a comment below. And while you're down there, if you hit that like and subscribe button, that greatly helps the channel. And then notifications if you want to see more videos of the Mercury when they're uploaded. I have a few, probably, I don't know, 10 videos back if you want to check out more of this build. It seems like you guys really like the 48 Mercury, so I'm going to be doing a lot more filming on it, obviously, as we get it done and as the Roadster is kind of finishing itself up now. So again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next time Wilson Builds.